Hello team, welcome back. And in the previous lecture, we have created a sample extent report. Today we will see if we want to use the config file to set up the report, then how we can use the configuration files to set up the report and how we can declare the basic element of the report in the configuration file. So let's go to the Eclipse, and this is the test case which we created in the previous lecture. Let me create the another class report using config. Over here, what I will do, I will copy the code base from my previous lecture. So I will copy the same method and paste it here. I will define the @test annotation on this method and import the test from the TestNG. Right, so there is no change. The test name is going to be the sample report. If you want, you can change it, but I am going with the same one. Right, now what we will do, we will update the things over here within this particular test case. But what we will update? What is the code we need to mention to set up the configuration files? And what is the structure of the configuration file? So there could be a lot of questions. So what we will do, we will simply go to the extentreport.com. So now we will click on the docs, go to the version 5 and click on the Java. On this particular web page, we need to go to the reporters and we need to select the reporter, which the reporter we are using, and we are using the Spark reporter. So click on the Spark and over here you will get the Spark documentation. Right. Now scroll down and you will see you are getting the XML config view, right? And the JSON config view. So over here, this is the code base which you need to use whenever you are going with the XML configuration. And this is the code base which you need to use whenever you are going with the JSON configuration. If you want to see the configuration file, you can click this particular link in a new tab. This will render you on the GitHub location. And over here, you see you are getting both of the files, Spark config XML and Spark config JSON. Let's click on this XML. Here we are getting the XML content. What I will do, I will copy this content. Go to my Eclipse. And over here, I will create a file at my project location. New file, extent config.xml. Simple. Click on the finish. Open this XML file and paste the content you downloaded from the GitHub. Over here, you see we are getting the extent report configuration. It is asking for the theme. By default, the standard is selected. If you want, you can select the dark as well. The encoding is UTF-8. If you want some another encoding, you can use that encoding protocol. HTTPS, we are not going to change it. Timeline enabled, yes. If you want to show the timeline with your test steps, you can keep it true, otherwise you can keep it false. Offline report, we are not going to change this particular setting. Thumbnail for base64, yes. Document title, by default it is the extent framework. Whatever the title you want to define for your report, if you see over here, we have defined the title this, my first extent report. So you can define the title over here like extent report via XML config. Simple. Then we are defining the report name. Earlier we have defined like this, set report name. If you want, you can define the report name over here. XML config report. Right now I am putting the dummy value, but you can put the relevant content over here and over here. You can put the relevant content over here like your application or feature name, your suite name. The timestamp format is default. I'm not going to change anything over here. Let's save this and I will close this. Now within my reporter, I don't need this particular code. So I will remove this code. What is the code do I need? I need this code. So I will copy this and paste it here. Over here, you see what we are doing. Very first, we are declaring the object of the file, right? Where we are passing the file location. Then we are creating the object of the extent Spark reporter, which we have already did over here. So I will remove this particular line. Right, and then what we are doing, we are loading the configuration file to the Spark object using the load XML config function. We are getting the error. It will ask you to add the import the file. So we will import the file. Now we are getting the error over here. We need to add a throws declaration. So I will add the throws declaration like this. One more change we need to do. What is that change? We need to update this file location, right? My file name is this extend config.xml. I will copy my file name and put it here, right? Simple. Now let's execute your test case. So I will execute this, run as TestNG test. We are getting the test executed successfully. I will refresh my project and open my report, my sample report.html. You see, my report is opened, and you see what is the title we are getting. Extend report via XML config. What is the report title? This is the title, whatever the title I have mentioned within my XML file. And we are getting the XML config report over here in the report name. Correct. The theme we selected is the dark, so that we are getting the dark theme. Now, let's copy this test case. Okay, copy this function and I will paste it over here. I will change the name sample report JSON config. Simple. I will also update the report name like my JSON report. And I will change the report name over here, my XML report. Earlier we was using the XML. Let's see how we can use the JSON template. So go to over here, you see we have the JSON template as well. I will copy this template. Go to my clips and create a new JSON file. Extend config.json. Open the JSON, open with text editor and paste your content. So this time we are not going to change the theme. We are keeping it standard. We will update the document title. Update it, extend report via JSON config. And I will update the report name as well. JSON config report. We are not going to change the timestamp and all. Let's save it. Go to the test case, copy the file name and paste it over here. We also need to check what is the function we need to use to load the configuration of the JSON type. So let's go to the browser again. Go to over here and you see you need to use this particular function. Load JSON config. I will simply copy it, use my function. So now we have the two test case. One test case where we are creating a my JSON report.html. Another test case where we are using the my XML report. First test case is using the configuration which is a JSON kind of configuration, and second test case is using a configuration which is a XML kind of configuration. The path of both of my report is different. Let's execute this test case. You see both of the test case got executed. I will refresh my project and you see two reports got created, my JSON report and my XML report. Let's open the XML first. This is a dark theme. The title is extend report by XML config and report is XML config report. Now let's open the JSON report. The theme is standard. This is a white theme. This is not a dark theme. The title we are getting extend report by the JSON config, and the report as well we are getting the JSON config report. The timestamp and the other thing you can basically govern by this particular configuration, right? The configuration in the JSON and configuration in the XML, you can govern the report format from these particular configurations. And this is the way how you can use the configuration file to create the extend report. So that's all for the day, team. Thank you. See you next time.